Okay, doke. There we go. Book over there. All right. Had to get the thumbnail in place. Let's try and do this again so I'm not squinting and you can read the screen and all that stuff. There we go. Hi, welcome. Thank you, Dr. Maria, for inviting your followers and for joining me. Let me put this in the way that it's working. There, that's kind of square. Hi, welcome. My name is Barry Selby, and as people are going to be joining, and hopefully they'll be sharing with the followers like you just did, and also tapping the screen for hearts. I'm starting to do them earlier because I'm part of the Perry 10K group, and I'll tell you about that at the end. In the Perry 10K group, we do our share-a-thons at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and this is noon Pacific time. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. It's going to be an interesting talk. My name is, again, it's Barry Selby. My site is barryselby.com, same as my Periscope handle, same as all my social media handles, so it's easy to find me. I am a relationship expert. I am known as a heartbreak repair specialist because my skill, my passion, my service is to help women heal their hearts. Men don't usually come to me for that, but women do. So that's why I work with them, help them heal their hearts, attract what they want in a relationship, and have an amazing life in general. I am, as I said, a coach. I'm a speaker, which is what Periscope's teaching me how to be. So this is a learning curve. I'm also #1 best-selling author, and that's what I took from today, and that's this book here, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, by me, yours truly, Barry Selby. It's on Amazon as a physical book like this. It's also on Kindle on Amazon. If you want to get it there, you can go to Amazon, look at my name or on the book title and find it. I did one yesterday, chapter 42, which is all about how men and women attract. I highly recommend you go watch that in the archive if you haven't watched it yet. It's a really juicy and became a very lively conversation. This one may become too, we'll see. It may strike a different chord, and it may have you do a lot of introspection, which is fine, because my scopes are intended to improve your life, to help you get where you want to go, and to help you think about your life in a way that is healthier and more directional. Sound like a deal? I hope so. So again, this is 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, and I'm going to be talking from chapter 18, which is Are You Alone or Lonely? Let me read the heading so you know what I'm starting from. And this will make sense as I go through it. So this is principle number 18 out of my book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. And this one says, are you alone or lonely? There is a difference. And knowing this will remove your blocks to relationship. All right, so let me get into this. And thank you for watching, by the way. There's only a few of you here, which is good. We can have a fairly intimate conversation if you wish to put any questions up or comments or feedback as we go. So, lonely versus alone. I used to be in the former camp of being lonely and looking for relationship, partnership, intimacy to fill me up, to make me feel better. And I'm going to be reflecting on some scopes I did last week, so I'll be reflecting back as we go, so just bear with me. When you are lonely, as I can attest to what it felt like, there's always this feeling of being incomplete, the feeling of being left out, and the feeling of not getting what you want. So a relationship could look like a lifeline. It could look like the treasure island that you're looking for, where you're always on that hunt. So I'm going to put this down somewhere. There we go, because I want my hands to use. So being lonely sucks, to be honest. I mean, it's not fun. And as I've experienced, and so many of my clients have experienced, that's not the way to be, but they don't know how to get out of it. And let me define being alone first, and I'll come back and how I get from one to the other. So, lonely is the feeling of lack, the desire to have a relationship to fill you up, to feel fulfilled through somebody else. That's one way I categorize it. Being alone is when you are fully embracing who you are. I'm using one spin. I'll get to more of these in a moment. Thank you for the hearts. When you are alone, you are enjoying who you are. And truthfully, when you're alone, you don't need anybody else if you are fully okay with that. And that's the key, being okay with who you are. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've done. I can teach a lot of things. I work with my clients on this to really own who you are, to own your own self-value so that you're not looking for a relationship to fill a gap you think you have, because it's an illusion. And I'll get to this as we go further in. So, lonely is feeling like lacking and desiring and needing someone to fill you up, and feeling like you look outside yourself because you don't feel you're included or you're missing out. Alone means fully okay as you are, means enjoying your own company and feeling at peace with yourself. Which one do you think is going to be more attractive to somebody if you're looking to go out on a date? Sorry, that was a question to you. Which one would you feel more attracted by? If someone came to you and they came to you feeling like they needed you and they didn't feel fulfilled without you, thank you, exactly. So being alone is absolutely the healthier, I'll use that word, way of being to have a relationship. Because I'm reaching into different parts of this conversation because it can go a lot deeper here. When you are alone, the need for something to fulfill you isn't there. When you're feeling lonely, as I mentioned, it's a codependent thing, codependent model, that somehow I will never be okay unless you show up in my life. And this goes back to all of the things I did about 2 weeks ago, spoke about all the old love songs that were codependent, because there are so many of them out there. And that loneliness is this feeling of, oh my God, I don't feel okay, and I'll never be okay unless you're there, which means that anytime you aren't giving me what you want, sorry, anytime you're not giving me what I want, I feel threatened, I feel afraid, I feel reactive, and I won't make your life happy. You see where this is going? This is how a lot of how relationships fail. A lot of relationships end up being in codependent dysfunction and pain and yelling and suffering. So loneliness isn't healthy. I'll say it that way. Being alone puts you in a place of, let's say this, healthy. Who is that? Sorry, I have to see who that is because I can't see the script. Oh, hey, how you doing? Good to see you this morning. This afternoon now. Sorry, some of these things come up quick. Jai, good to see you, sir. So, rewinding just a touch because you just joined us. Thanks for the hearts again. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing with Thanks for sharing with your followers and your friends. I'm doing this scope ahead of the Perry 10K crew, the clan that starts at 1 o'clock Pacific time, because I want to watch that one this time. I was in yesterday's and I'll be in the one tomorrow, but I'm not doing today's. I want to watch this one. So thank you. Appreciate it, Jai. So again, being lonely, being alone. Two different things. Lonely is ultimately a codependent need for somebody else to make me feel better. Makes me very much unable to stand on my own 2 feet. Being alone is where I choose to stand on my own 2 feet and appreciate who I am. And I've been single for quite a long time because I had to build my business. And I knew that if I had a relationship, I'd be pulled off track. And that was something I talked about day before, I think, about a man's purpose versus his relationship. I had to get to the place of knowing it was okay to be alone. And now I thrive there. Yes, I look forward to a relationship, but it's going to be additive to my life, not replacing something I think is missing. And that's the very clear difference between lonely and alone. Clear? So, contextual. In the evolution of relationship I talked about, and again, these are scopes I've done over the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I definitely recommend you go back. Oh, you fell off and you came back. Thank you, Maria. You can go back and look at last week's week before, as I talked about the masculine and feminine, feminine and masculine evolution of relationship. That was, I think, 2 weeks ago. I've done some of these scopes, it's blurring, but when I did them. When we are alone, and we are at peace with who we are when we're alone, we play at a much higher level when we do choose a relationship. If we can maintain the same inner integrity and individuality that we came in with. And Jeanette, nice to have you here. Hi, welcome. I'm just recapping, so let me just rewind just a bit so you catch where I started from. And please share with your fans and followers again. So lonely versus alone. Nice to see you too. Lonely is that incomplete feeling that somehow we will be filled up by somebody out there that isn't us. And it's sad because there are many people out in the world looking for dates on social media, on smartphone apps, on websites, in bars, to look for someone else to make them feel better. And at best, you have to be in the same boat to play with them. At worst, you'll be sucked dry energetically. This is actually, to be honest, one of the biggest, one of the biggest challenges that, what narcissists are bringing to the table. The narcissistic style, which is a psychological profile in the DSM-5, I think now, 4, I lost track of which one it is. And I'm not a psychologist, so I could be off on that one. But the narcissistic tendency is predicated upon being lonely. because a narcissist looks to somebody else to fill them up, and that's the extreme case. But the same thing plays out if you're in a place where you're looking for a codependent need for someone else to make you feel better, which is the lonely pattern. So again, back to the alone side, because I'm going to give you both contrast. When you're alone, and you own that, you live that, you appreciate that, when you're alone, you can enjoy your life with or without somebody else, which makes when you have somebody else in your life a whole lot easier, a whole lot more fun, and that person actually enjoys being with you. Unless, because I did this years ago, unless they have the savior complex, which I did. The sense of being, and let me, okay, yeah, I'm going to tell this story. I wasn't doing this, but it kept coming up. So, before I grew to where I am now, what I've done in my life and what work I've done, I was at the beginning of my journey in the personal growth, spiritual development arena back in the 80s. Yeah, I'll go back a bit. I was in a seminar in particular. This one I'm talking about is actually chapter 18 in my book. Did I say 18? No, sorry. Let me dig it up. Sorry, this book. Yeah, let me check it. I decided to go to the book for a chapter because when I need inspiration, it's a good resource. It is chapter, sorry, just read back to it is, yes, chapter 18. That's where it was, chapter 18. So, well, I'm glad you're here. So let me just expose my story from when I was younger. And this speaks to the lonely side. Oh, yeah. That's the book. It's on Amazon.com. My name or the title. You can find it on Amazon. It's me on the back. Actually, I think it's the same color shirt. It's not the same shirt, but I'm like, wow, that's an interesting coincidence. Physical and Kindle on Amazon is where you can find it. Okay, so 50 Ways to Love Your Lover with the 5-0 or Barry Selby, you'll find it. So years ago, I was, and I hadn't evolved beyond this point in my own upbringing, but I was in a seminar retreat, and we did a process about feedback, and somebody called me a white knight, because it was in America and I'm English, and my accent was still pretty thick back then. Well, it's not thin now, but it was a lot thicker then. Because someone thought I was very noble, and I was wearing a white outfit or something I was doing. Called me a white knight. I happened to have, at that time, a white Toyota Supra. It was a hot car at the time. This was back in the 80s. And so I changed the license plate to White Knight, and in 7 letters. The power of the word. I'm going to tell you this. The amount of women who I saved, the damsels in distress, literally, women who I found, and the truth is I should have been coaching them, not trying to date them. That was a mistake, and so I'm much healthier about that now. I'll tie this into now, by the way, in a moment. Sorry, it reminds me how amazingly painful it was at the time, but how funny it's looking back. It's amazing what perspective brings. Looking back, I was saving women who were damsels in distress because they didn't know how to stand on their own 2 feet, and I didn't know how to be different. This is where I get to the power of the word. This went on for a few years, and I was either dating or chasing, because I wasn't always succeeding, women who were feeling they didn't have what they needed. And I would be chasing them, hoping they would say yes. And I was trying to save them from themselves because they're upset, they were hurt. That was kind of one of my gifts, but I was putting it to the romantic sense versus the coaching sense. That's the way I was at the time. This happened, for about 2 or 3 years. I had an epiphany, a wake-up call, a light bulb moment, where I realized that I couldn't do that anymore. It was painful for me, because I was trying to be the savior. I was trying to help them, make them feel better. And this is how, well, I wouldn't blame the movie necessarily, it's actually in the culture. So the movie Pretty Woman is just an indicator of a much bigger, I'll get to that one in a minute. Let me finish this story, please. So I decided that this pattern had to end. So I said out loud, I vividly remember this, I'm so clear I need to get rid of that license plate. I can't be the white knight anymore. It doesn't work for me. It's not helping me or the women because it's painful and my dating life sucks. It did. 2 weeks after I said that, someone stole my car with the license plate attached. I mean, I'm cracking up. It was a painful experience at the time. But looking back, it was so obvious. I said to the universe out there with such clear definition, such passionate ownership, I need to get rid of that license plate. The spirit took the car with it. I'm using spirit as the land because I don't know who stole the car and never came back. It was a wake-up call, double. 1, I got woke up to the fact I didn't want that anymore, and 2, I realized the power of the word. And it's been a teacher through most of my life since then. So, bringing it to present moment. One reason I do what I do is because I still have that yearning to serve and support women. But I ain't going to date them. Not that way. The woman I choose to date has already done the work or is doing her own work, and that's another conversation I'm not going to do here. But coming back to the lonely versus alone piece, I was at that time very much hooked up to the lonely pattern, thinking I would be validated by helping the women and hopefully dating them back then in the 80s. And it cost me my car, a lot of money, self-esteem, healthy relationships were never on the cards, so I suffered that time. But again, that was history. I learned from it, and that's a key. So that's the lonely pattern, yes. I've been alone now, being single and not being in a relationship and being focused on my work for a few years now, over 7, because I had to. And one of my teachers taught me this, and I got it at a visceral level where I knew about it. And I talked about this in yesterday's or the day before scope in my love scope. But I'll recap it briefly here. For men, the masculine man, which I was evolving into because I didn't know I wasn't doing that before, I owned why I'm here. I finally got my reason for being and my mission. That meant I had to do something about it. So I've spent, and I'm still spending all these years really owning it, standing it, like anchoring it in the ground in the world, so that when I do have a relationship again, I don't derail that. Because one of the traits of the masculine man is we're really good at single focus. One thing at a time is our gift, our service, our skill. When we multitask, that's a feminine skill. And ladies, you have it over us in spades when it comes to that. But for me, I got clear because I knew myself enough that yes, I can do a few things at once, okay. But to do things really well, get one thing done and make it work well. Now my book is published, my programs are running, my online work is out there, now I'm doing Periscope about this work. I feel, thank you, I'm feeling much more comfortable that when I do date, my work doesn't go away. Because that was the fear I had at the beginning. I knew myself that in the history, that would be the pattern. So again, being alone, I have, oh my God, thank you. Yeah, this heart count is getting to be quite an amazing thing to watch accelerate. It was like very low, then it started doing this, like doing this, and it started going up like that. So yes, it's been quite an experience. Or actually that way if you're doing it from that side of the screen. So, rewinding that for a second. So for me, I get clear about being alone meant I can really own my work, my reason for being, and my purpose. Alone is a independent place and also creates a interdependent relationship pattern. And in my book, and there's another chapter I talk in my book about codependent, independence, interdependent. Lonely attracts codependent relationships because you're looking for someone else to make you feel better, feel full, feel okay, and you feel okay because you're in a relationship. That's putting a lot of weight into the partnership, and it's not healthy. Being alone is the interdependent program where you bring all of who you are into a relationship, you attract someone who's fully in themselves, and then you add to each other's lives. So this side is a 50-50 relationship. This side is a 100-100 relationship. I hope this is making a lot of sense, because this is the key between lonely and alone. And by having it be broken up this way, I'm going to give you like stacking up the decks on each side to help you have clarity. Okay? So, is there any more? I'm trying to think if there's any more that you need. Any questions? Thanks for all the people joining and all the hearts. And thank you for sharing with your followers and friends. And if you have any questions, please post them. If you want any clarification, I've covered this a few now pretty detailed. I'm just thinking if there's anything else I need to give you now, or if that's going to be enough to keep you going. Again, this is chapter 18 out of my book. You just want to share some moments. Okay. What sort of moments do you want to share, Miss Georgie? Is that Miss or Miss? Let's look. Georgie. Hi, Georgie. Welcome. I want to share some moments. As in typing? Okay. I'll keep talking whilst you're typing so we can just get to this. So, again, my book is 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. It is on Amazon. And this is chapter 18. I did chapter 42 yesterday. I don't usually do chapters in the book, but yesterday was requested by a friend, Natalie. Not sure if you can handle full-time, meaning full-time relationship, I guess. You don't have to. See, my coaching is about you getting what you want, not what the model should be. So my work is personalized to my clients. So if you're looking to have an amazing relationship that has all these things and it's only part-time, that's what you want. Nothing wrong with that. And then it's the clarity of, then you attract what you want. Yes, and there's ways of being independent and still have a healthy relationship. As I said, I talk about the thing from being codependent through independence to interdependent. If you're truly independent, then there's no point having a relationship. Interdependence is the additive. Because that interdependence is owning who you are, your partner owning they are as independent beings, and then collaborating in relationship. Could that appeal to you, maybe, Georgie? So that's what I want to just make that clarity, that you can have both. And that's my joy, is to help you get what you want, because, well, yes, most of us do. And if you have a busy work life, you want a relationship that will serve that, not replace it, I'm guessing. And if you have a busy work life and you love your work, especially if you love it, you want a partner that's going to serve and support you in having that. Be a cheerleader. That's another chapter in my book, by the way. Okay, I'm going to plug the book again. I'm doing these things from the book. This is the book I'm talking from, my book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle and physical book like this. There is a chapter in about the interdependent, codependent, independent dance, and about having partners who are your cheerleaders. Exactly. Not with pom-poms, but someone who basically is doing their, and also someone who's going to be doing their life at the same level, who's committed to their work and their life in the world, and you are as well, and you are both there supporting each other. That's my vision for my own relationship, is to have that. And I'm single at the moment. I'm not saying I'm looking right now, but I know that what I want in a relationship adds to what I'm doing. I cannot give up my work for my partner. That's the lonely pattern. And I did that 3 times in a row. Never again. I can't do that. So being in this place of being alone and being comfortable in that, then you can step into a relationship from a place of ownership, clarity, and embracing yourself, so your partner doesn't have to do it for you. They can add to that, because then it's all gravy, it's bonus, it's even more fulfilling. Well, that's the thing. Okay, let me speak to you directly on this one, Georgie. If you're seeming to find men that want for supporting their visions, their missions, their ventures, either that's just simply the audience you're finding, or perhaps more likely, you have a pattern or a automatic program inside that doesn't believe you know something different. Exactly. So, I mean, we can talk offline if you want to work, we work together too. But if you are clear about your own work, then you won't be looking for a relationship that doesn't support that. You have to own your own truth. This is being the alone side, is you've got to be really okay with being alone. The loneliness side is scared of losing track. And if you're in the lonely side of the equation, then you're feeling the either or experience. In the alone side, it's both and. So you can have what you want in a relationship, and you can have your work be fully owned and supported by a partner as you support them, because there's no rule that says you and your partner can't support each other at the same time. In fact, that's one of the things I recommend and I coach and I want myself. Good. That's key. And if there's stuff inside that's running as your history, your archived belief structures that are still running, thinking that you cannot have a relationship with someone who supports you in your dreams, well, does he spend time on yours? So you say you must spend time on his. Yes, if you, and it's not a must, and this is another thing, if it's a must, not a want, there's something off. If you want to spend time helping him with his, and he wants to spend time helping you with yours, that's healthy. Right, so if it's must driven or it's only one-sided, that's not healthy. I'm just going to say the truth. And if there's not everything else in the relationship you want, either he's got to change or you've got to leave. That's simple. And I'm being black and white about this, because my passion is helping you get what you want. And sometimes people settle for second best, and I did that in Scope 3 days ago about settling. So Georgie, if you want, reach out to me. Either send me a direct tweet, or if you want to, on my website, which is barryselby.com. Again, all my social media, you leave early. Then let's talk, because if you want to change that pattern, let's talk. I can help you with that, seriously. On my website, I have a free discovery session under the Let's Talk button at the top of the screen on my website. You can book a session and we can talk. If you're in the States, it's easy by phone. If you're international, we do Skype, or in country, we do Skype as well. So let me just recap for a couple of those people who joined late, and just to go back to barryselby.com is the site, yes. And there's there's the navigation bar is above the title. The navigation bar has a Let's Talk or Let's Chat button at the top. Click on that, takes you to the consult page. In South Africa, we can do it over Skype, depending on the time of day. Apparently, you're up now. I'm thinking that's what, about 10 hours difference from the West Coast of California. So I can do one morning, you can do evening. We can work it out to make it work. So, just if you want to do that, just book a session. We can chat over Skype, and we can just talk about it and see if it lines up. And if we want to work together, it works. Because my work with you is only if you want to do the work and I want to work with you. It's a partnership, same as in relationship. So my coaching is not everyone should work with me. I don't want that. You're welcome. But what I do want to do is help those who want to get help. That's simple. But I'm not going to fix you. I'm going to help you heal yourself. Because that's the way I work. So recapping briefly for what we were talking before, and in summary, the lonely side is the codependent side. That's the side where you are feeling incomplete without something else, somebody else making you feel better. The alone side is where you are anchored in who you are, where you own your self-value, your self-worth, and you honor who you are. So when you have relationships or you do anything in the world, you don't get pulled away from yourself. And I had to learn this lesson myself. This one's passionate for me. And I heard about it in a seminar once in like, oh, you can be alone or you can be lonely. I'm like, oh, sorry, lonely or alone. I'm like, that's it? But when I started going deeper, understanding it, it became very clear to me how important it is to be healthy alone, so then you can be healthy in relationship. That's another key. If you want to have a healthy relationship, going in wounded isn't helping. You have a pattern that doesn't seem to work for men. Well, let's talk. Again, let's not talk offline because this may go deeper than I can do on the scope, and I'd rather do it in private so it respects your space. I love Periscope in so many ways, but one of the things about it is it's public. So sometimes posting things on there can be more exposing than you want. So I'm just saying we can do it offline, and we do it by email even if you want. Okay? No, you're welcome. Absolutely at your service. This is my work. It's my passion. So lonely, codependent, alone, independent, or ownership of self. So then you can have a relationship that is not independent but interdependent. Do this little jet. I'm trying to give you like, if I had a whiteboard it'd be much easier, but I can't do it that way, so I'm using my hands on the screen, so hopefully that works. That's the bottom line of this. The lonely side is the old-fashioned codependent, and I talked about the whole thing about codependence last week on my scopes. I'll tell you where to find those in a minute. Or you go to the independent side, but not independence like I don't need you. It's more like I don't need you, but I want you. Versus I need you, which is the old love songs from the 80s and 70s and 60s that were codependent. That's lonely versus alone. Lonely has a hunger and need and almost energy-sucking vampire energy to it in extreme cases, hence the narcissistic comment earlier. The alone side is autonomy. The alone side is healthy. The alone side is valuing who you are. So when you go out with your friends, and this applies to everything, not just relationship, in work, social environments, and relationship, that you're not surviving based on other people's responses. Because that's like an addict. It is an addict. You're addicted to other people's approval. I'm just pulling into something. I did a scope Saturday or Friday, part of the Sherathon for the Perry 10K, which I'll mention again in a minute too, talking about self-esteem and self-confidence. And part of that is that too. When you're lonely, it's very hard to have self-confidence, self-esteem, because you're living on somebody else's feeding of that, like Chinese food. Fills you up for 2 minutes and then it's gone. You feel hungry again. On this side, you are in the place of being fulfilled. No, let me rewind. Oh yes. So you're filled up with your own self-confidence and self-approval because you value who you are. So this side, again, these are just another layer on the lonely versus alone. The lonely side doesn't necessarily have much place of ownership of self-value, self-approval, self-confidence, self-support. It's looking out there for it all the time. On the alone side, once again, the desire for a relationship is additive. You don't need them to approve you. You'd love them to give you approval, but you don't need it. Subtle difference. Actually, it's blatant difference. Additionally, you have self-confidence, not ego-based, but you trust yourself. You own who you are. And that makes you way more attractive. Let me just say that again, for the men and the women. Being self-confident because you trust who you are. Not to be a brigand or a bragger or anything like I'm self-confident. It's like, no, it's natural. That's the alone side. It's healthy. I think you're getting my point about which one doesn't work and which one does. So I think I can wrap this up unless you have any other questions. Thank you, Georgie, for your input. And yes, please reach out to me. Yes, you do. Another question. I'll hang out. And everyone's keep joining. So again, the lonely side, not fun. The alone side, healthy. But the alone side attracts relationship. The lonely side attracts codependent relationship. Big difference. So Georgie, another question. I'm waiting for you to type it up. Sorry, wait for a second. I'm just trying to cool down. It's actually still very hot. It's still in the 80s here. Just getting so hot in LA. Looking forward to the fall soon. Autumn, as they call it. Any other questions besides Georgie was typing one, I think, at the moment? Anybody? Anybody? I'll wait for Georgie to come back. Okay. Just to recap again slightly, quickly for those last people. Oh, show book again. Yes. I can do that. Hello, HL Tactic. This is the book 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, and it's on Amazon. We'll try that way so you can read it. Sorry, 50. There we go. 50 Ways to Love Your Lover by Barry Selby. It's on Amazon. It's on as a physical book like this, and it's also a Kindle version as well. Yesterday's scope was about chapter 42, and I don't usually do that many chapters, but today I did back to back because I couldn't think of what to do today until I saw that chapter and went, alone or lonely is kind of the subject today. So, and it's interesting because, no, actually it's not relevant. My woman went down on the track. I must admit, Periscope is an interesting place to play too. Yeah, I'll say this. If you watch Periscope, other users, every user, you can feel when you're watching them if they're alone or lonely, if they're comfortable in who they are, or if they're looking out to you to get fed. You understand? So that can be your homework. When you watch other people's scopes, just checking to see how it feels. I'm watching my time. So a couple of things. All of my archive scopes are now on catch.me, which is katch.me/Barry Selby, because I put out 60-something scopes so far over the last month and a half. And 3/4 of those are about love and relationships. Hello, you're back. Natalie, yes. Were you on yesterday? Did you see my scope yesterday? Because it was for you. That was the scope I did, because you asked me the day before if I do one in chapter 42 about man and women attraction. So, catch with a K. Sorry, yes. I'm doing two things at once here. Natasha, thank you. Sorry, Natalie. Natasha, I did this. My scope yesterday, my last scope was for you because you asked for number 42 to be shared. So you did watch it. Awesome, good. Because that was juicy stuff and it got very involved. Catch.me with a K. And I'm actually going to do a Perry's tip scope in a few minutes after this one ends, telling you about the new features of Catch and the downside of that. Catch.me is a free service tied, yes, exactly. And it's catch.me/Barry Selby, because that's my profile. And if you're using Periscope, if you don't use Catch, please do. It's a free service. It was done as a hack at some conference somewhere, where they wanted to create a catch, like a catch basin, for all people's live stream broadcasts on Periscope and on Meerkat. And so you just do a couple of settings on both Twitter side and on the Catch side, and it just stores them. So if you go to catch.me/Barry Selby, all of my scopes will be there, including the ones. It takes about 3-4 minutes from when the scope ends to be uploaded there, so it's pretty quick. So all the scopes are up there, and I'm going to do a Perry tip about catch.me in probably, well, about 2 or 3 minutes after I get done with this one. And also a quick shout out to the Perry 10K group, because they are they're motivating for me. I'm part of this group. I just joined 2 weeks ago, maybe. The recent hatch, it's full right now. They've got a waiting list. But if you want to get involved in Perry 10K, I recommend it. At least watch the scopes, and I'll be posting when I see the scopes too, so you're welcome. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. And just to double check, because I'm like, is that somebody I know? Erica, thank you for joining. Yeah, watch my scopes. I've got a ton of stuff out there. I'm putting out more content all the time because I'm scoping every day. Yesterday I did 4 scopes. Today I've already done 3. Well, I did 2 and a test. So ignore the test, but I did 1 scope earlier because I'm on a telesummit today. Or I should say, my recording of an interview is on telesummit today. The Happy Relationship Summit airs today. Sorry, it's been airing for a week and a half. My interview airs today. So if you want to listen to that, the website for... Yeah, I got really carried away. Which website were you wondering about? So come back to me on that, I'm not sure. So Perry 10K is a Facebook group, and you can get to that if you want to join the group and be on the waiting list. If you go to Perry10K, the number 10, k.com/join. That's for speakers, coaches, and inspirers to want to be part of a big group making a big difference in the world. Every day we do a share-a-thon at 1 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Catch.me with a K, please. katch.me/ yeah, so it's catch.me/no.com/Barry Selby. I don't have a piece of paper with it on, so if you type it out, that'd be great. Perry 10K, it does rock. I'm loving the group, and we do a share-a-thon every day. So I was in the one yesterday. Yeah, that's why I got 4 scopes versus 3. But I'm doing, I think, 3 or 4 today again, because I did the one for promotion for my summit. It is, yes. There she is. There's Katya. That's the one I was going to tell you about. The one brown just came up. So, as I was saying, Perry 10K. It is an awesome group, and we do a share-a-thon every day, which is topic themed. So there's 5 people talking. Exactly, you felt it. Huh? Yes, just wrapping up the scope. It's been a good one about lonely versus alone. But I'm just doing a quick pitch for Perry 10K. We are an awesome group of people who really speak and teach and make a difference in the world. And you can watch us every day doing a share-a-thon, and it's 5 people in a row at 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and 3 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Same topic, over 10 people speaking about it, which gets really, really juicy. What I love about it is you get 10 different perspectives on the same topic, which is really fun and useful. So if one person doesn't reach you, maybe some of the other ones do. So the great thing is you listen to 5 10-minute shares in a row, then you get a break and then another 5. That's download input, great stuff. So I really recommend it highly for you if you want to do that. That's, to be honest, why my heart count went up so fast, because it's a share that way. So I don't have my paper with me, so I was going to get a paper with a link to the other site. So again, the Happy Relationship Summit is on right now, and this is my 7th telesummit the year I appeared on, which is awesome. 61K. I mean, when I started this, I was about, I think, 2,000 hearts. And I was glad I got to 2,000. Now look at this. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. I love this group. This is fun. I know it's too much information, so you watch the replay, by the way, if you can just dissect what I said. I covered a lot of stuff on the topic today, so you can watch the replay here on catch.me/barryselby. But for those of you who are speakers, just ignore this if you're not one of those. Perry 10K is an awesome group. And I'll be on, I think tomorrow I'm back on again doing the share-a-thon, but today I'm choosing to watch because I'm not the expert in this area yet, the speaking gigs. So I'm glad you liked it. It's one close to my heart, as I said. The story the story I share with my history, I went from one to the other through my own journey, my own evolution, but I was stuck in that one for a long time. So yeah, lonely sucks. Alone's healthy. That's simple. You know? And if you missed this scope up to now, please go back and watch the replay. There's so much good stuff in it that I hope will help you live a healthier life. I'm glad I could help you, Georgie. And again, please reach out. I'd love to support you beyond the scope of this scope. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, I plug my phone in like 4 times a day at least with Perry 10K. That's the challenge of Periscope. Is that batteries suck. It's also a massive... I'll give you this a reminder, by the way. I do mine in Wi-Fi only, and that's why I'm doing indoors. Because if I go out on the road and do periscopes, it will suck my data plan completely. So you're welcome. I'm glad I could help. But anyway, that's Perry Tips. I'm getting there in a moment. So I'm going to sign off because I need to get back onto my Perry Tip right now because you need help? I know, yes, we're going to talk. And I'll give you some Perry Tips along the way too. I'll be back on again in about 5 minutes to do the Catch.me update because that's what's coming up. And then I'll be announcing at... Hey Sarah, good to see you. I'll be back at 1 o'clock watching the share-a-thon for the Perry 10K group, because that's what I'm part of. Hello, good to see you here. By the way, follow Thrive with Sarah. She's an amazing woman out of Austin, Texas. She does mala beads and does some healing dance, and she does card readings, and just a real sweet, powerful woman who's rocking it on Periscope too. And in fact, because of her, I got my friend Michelle Whiteheart started a 30-day challenge, which got me involved in Periscope actively a month ago. That led me to Perry 10K through some other friends. So that's the one thing about Periscope I love, is the complete networking and the friendships that build either offline first, then online, or online first, offline second. It's amazing. So I'm a big fan of Periscope and to some of the amazing people I meet here. So I'm grateful for that. So Sarah, thanks to you, that got me because of Michelle. It's amazing how it works so circuitously. And then now I know Katya and all the folks in England, where I'm from, because of 2 friends of mine in Florida and I think Oregon is where George lives. So I love this stuff. Periscope takes time. By the way, so a little plug. In the archives I have of my... You're welcome for that, Sarah. In the Catch.me, I've got a bunch of what I call Perry Tips, like I'm going to do in a minute, which give you lots of keys to get started with Periscope. So if that's the thing you're stuck with and want to help, just look at the archives for mine on catch.me with a K /Barry Selby. All right? That's it. I'm going to sign off now because I need to get my Perry Tips scope done before we start in 15 minutes, because I'm going to be watching that one. So thanks for watching, thanks for joining me. If you're just getting logged in now to the scope, please go back and watch it from the beginning, because there's a lot of content I gave, and I don't want to distill it down to make it too thin, because I want to give you the full meat of it. But I will say one more thing. Sorry. This is what it came from, chapter 18 in 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. This is the book you can find it on Amazon and on Kindle. Find it on Amazon as a physical book and as a Kindle edition as well. Okay? Thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and take some of this into your life. Watch in your life. It's homework. You've got to give homework. What I shared, for those of you who watched it, and in the replay if you watched it, your homework now is to be aware of yourself in social situations. And when you're alone, how do you feel? Do you feel interacting with people where you don't need them to make you feel okay? Do you feel it coming from an overflow? Or do you feel that you need something or somebody outside yourself to make you feel better? That's an indicator. And if you're in the second one, this one, of being lonely versus being alone, and you want to change that, reach out to me, I will help you. Again, barryselby.com is my site. There's a Let's Talk button, or you can go straight to /consult to get there. And I'll happily sit and talk with you. We can set up a time to chat. And if we want to work together, that works then. So it's no fee up front. This is to see if I can help you, and if what you want, I can help you with. That's simple. All right? Please watch the scope again if you missed it, because there's some good stuff in here. And the comments were fun, and I told a deep, dark story of my past. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being on the scope. Get out there and live your life fully. How was that? Sharing it on one of my emails? Oh, yes. Live, laugh, and love with passion. See you in the next scope, and I'll be back in a pair of tips in about 2 minutes. Bye.